Hello SLAPAFISH community and welcome back to another World Tank video. So in this video I'm going to be driving the AMX M454, the French Tier 10 Super Heavy. I'm pretty sure it's a Super Heavy. And yes. So why am I driving this tank? Because British and French, the entire tech tree, are on track. And basically this thing is on track. And there's Andre the Giant right beside me. And yes. So kind of comparison between these two tanks. I'm actually going to do two replays of this tank because it has two main guns. It's got a 120mm gun that you can see me using right now, and it's got a 130mm gun, which is the same gun that's on the Andre the Giant. And I'll be a comparison between the Andre Giant versus this tank later on the next gun, so that will make sense. Anyway, AMX M454, really good tank, especially the Tier 9. The line's really good. The Tier 9's a fantastic. If you like your Andre the Giant, you will definitely love this tank because you get two guns, and I'm just going to tell you what you can expect with this tank. Also, the Tier 9 is just fantastic. I can't get over that Tier 9. Now, this gun is a 120mm gun. It fires at 5.5 rounds per minute. That does 400 damage per shot. That gives it a DPM of 2,200. And yes, this thing gets ammo racked. Kind of light, but you could protect that a little. I'll tell you throughout the replay how you can. But anyway, penetration is 264 on standard, and premium penetration is 315. High explosive penetration is 65, accuracy is 0.35, aim time is pretty good at 1.8. Now, this is a heavy tank, kind of a super heavy. So, how's the armor? Well, the armor's pretty flipping good. You got 300 at the front. Okay, this is Terran armor, by the way. 300 at the front, 80 at the sides, and 40 at the back. Pretty good, right? Now, let's go on to the hull armor. Your hull armor is 220 at the front, and your lower plate is 240. And the little, side skirts, I don't know what it's called. It's exactly where the 704 pinned me, because I was making those spots weak. It's kind of really hard to show you because I'm not aiming at the tank. Right there, you see those angled parts? They're little angled parts at the very front of the tank. Those are 150mm strong, and yeah, they come weak when you're not facing head on. So anyway, armor's pretty good. I said the front armor. You have 60mm of side armor, which is kind of bad, and you have 40mm of rear armor. You also have 2,200 hit points. Now, the gun has 8 degrees of gun depression and 15 degrees of gun elevation. You go 40 forward and 15 reverse, and you have a horsepower per ton at 15.02. Now, I do want to say this, when you put the other gun on it, you do lose 0.02 horsepower. So instead of having 15.02 horsepower, you'll get 15 horsepower. Anything else I want to say this? Well, the V range sucks at 390 and single range at 750. Equipment I'm using is a gun rammer, gun lean drive, and crew vents. Now my crew is Mentor, 6 Cents, Brothers in Arms, repair, swimming lessons, controlled impact, and jack of all trades. And it's trading Smooth Ride. Pretty sure it's Smooth Ride. Might be, what's the other one? Snapshot? Yeah, Smooth Ride. Okay. So, now, the AMX M454. Both guns are really nice. And this one's the gun that if you care about penetration and accuracy and DPM more, instead of alpha, then you would pick this gun. And rate of fire, you would pick this gun because it has all of those over the other gun. Basically, with this tank, you want to get hold down as much as possible because it just works extremely good when it's hold down. But even when it's not hold down, it can really perform. And like you're gonna see right when I fall off this cliff, I'll show you exactly what I mean. And especially in the very next battle, I think I can go hold down pretty much the entire game and just mop up people. It's pretty fun. And look at that. That's a grill 15 and a Death Star right there. The grill 15 is actually aimed at me and trying to wiggle my armor just because it's more difficult. Grill 15 just bounced off me. There's a Death Star. He's trying to shoot, but I'm trying to use the grill 15 between the Death Stars so he can't shoot me. And also, I forgot to mention, this tank can ram pretty nicely. And the grill 15 just knocked out my gun, and right now I'll just take out this Death Star. And there we go. So yeah, just basically, this tank is really fun. It's got really good horsepower per ton, and it just works. The armor just works really, really nicely. And this is about the only tank that was the last shot we're gonna take this entire game. And we may actually get, never mind. I was gonna say we may actually get the kill on this guy, but nope, I didn't remember. But yeah, I'm just gonna cut to the post-game stats so you can actually see things. Okay, so that was a victory on Mountain Pass. We did almost 5,000 damage, 2,740 blocked, and second the leaderboard. And now we get to move on to the very next gun, which is the 130mm gun on Sun River Night. See how that transition right there? So, the AMX M454 with the 130mm gun. Now, let's talk about this gun. This gun, rate of fire is 3.55. That does 560 damage per shot. That has a DPM of 1,988. Penetration on its standard is 250. Premium penetration is 280. Accuracy is 0.37. And aim time is 2.3. And the gun depression still probably is the same. Yes, it's still the same at 8 degrees, and gun elevation is 15 degrees. Now, like I said, there would be a little comparison between the Andre the Giant and this tank. So let's start on right at it. See, so the Andre has 2,500 hit points versus the 2,200 that the AMX M454 has. The AMX has better forward speed at 40 versus 35. The AMX has better horsepower per ton at 15 versus 11.91. And this is like a comparison of both of the tanks using the same exact gun. So if you wondered. Okay. Rate of fire is better on the AMX at 3.55 versus 3.21. Next thing, DPM is better on the AMX because the rate of fire is better at 1,988 versus 1,798. Track transverse is better on the AMX at 28 versus 22. The turret transverse is 32 on the AMX and 24 on the Andre. Armor. Turn armor is less on the AMX at 80. Well, the side armor is 80, and on the Andre it's 100 on its side armor of its turret. Now the whole armor is 60 on the AMX on the side and 100 on the Andre. And also remember when I was talking about those little angle parts at the front of my tank, like on the sides of my tank, and which I am definitely exposing right here. It's 150 on the AMX, but 220 on the Andre the Giant. So yeah, definitely an improvement. But do you really want to sacrifice mobility, 2 choices of gun, rate of fire, and mobility and all that kind of stuff to make your little weak points better that are when you're like facing the enemy they're kind of really hard to penetrate, but when you kind of angle them towards the enemy, it like makes them weak. So basically how you play this tank is just, you really want to like face your enemy head on. Like, head on. That's exactly what I mean. And what else wanted to say? Like, I've been doing this replay, and if you could go hold down, that is amazing. Also, I do want to mention that your cupola on top is 100 and it's 100 millimeters thick. Both of them are. One's bigger than the other one, but it's 100 millimeters thick, so that's an easy weak point. But when you're using your 8 degrees of gun depression, the weak point kind of goes away, so that's kind of why you want to go hold down on this tank. And this tank just really excels while it's hold down. And I really can't stress enough that the tier 9 is extremely good. Like, extremely. That tank actually gets 2 guns too. It gets a 120 millimeter gun, which is the same gun that's on this tank, and it also gets a 127 millimeter gun, which is also a pretty good gun. So yeah, this line is actually pretty nice, especially when you get to the 9 and you get to the 10, and it's just fantastic. I recommend this line so much. I love it, especially the tier 9. I mean, tier 10 is good. If you like your Andre the Giant, you will definitely love this tank. You will definitely love this tank and the tier 9. And there is a random 46 pattern right there. And look at that ram damage. 440 right there. We just dealt to that 46 pattern. And that was a nice roll for ramming damage. And we more than likely will cap out right here. And I'm trying to ram this guy to death, but it's not seeming to work. But yeah, this is a fantastic tank. You just really want to go hold down. If you can't go hold down, just face the enemy team and don't angle. Okay, that's pretty much all I gotta say. And that was a victory on Sand River Night and the AMX M454. How to make sure I was saying that right, with a 130 millimeter gun, and just waited on the screen, and I'm running out of things to say. We made 55,000 silver, did 5,215 damage, 1,140 assists, almost 2,000 blocked, and we should end up on the top of the leaderboard. And yes, we do. Alright guys, if you like this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also remember to SLAPAFISH, because why would you not? And peace out, see ya!